History never remembers the good boys who walk the safe path laid out by their fathers. This boy, walking across a vast farm in 1870s Michigan, was Henry Ford, the man who would quite literally put the world on wheels. But back then, he was just a regular farm boy who absolutely hated tilling the soil, the mud, and humanity's relentless dependence on horses. Everyone thought he would inherit his father's legacy and become a wealthy farmer. They were wrong. Henry's true genius came alive only when he escaped his farm chores and locked himself in his room as darkness fell. He was just 13 years old when, after being gifted a simple pocket watch, he managed to completely dismantle and reassemble it on his very first try, without a single piece left over. This was his introduction to the magical world of gears. Before long, people from neighboring villages began bringing their broken timepieces to this young boy. While the townspeople thought he was losing his mind and wasting his life on useless nonsense, Henry was falling in love with the perfect harmony of springs and gears. Right around that time, he lost his mother, the only person on the farm who truly understood him. From that moment on, the farm was no longer a home. It was a prison he desperately needed to escape. By the time Henry turned 16, the tension between him and his father reached an absolute boiling point. In a desperate bid to keep his son on the land, his father, William, made him the ultimate offer of that era. "If you give up this obsession with mechanics, I will hand over the entire deed of this massive farm to you." Henry stood at a major crossroads. He could either become a wealthy, comfortable, and guaranteed farm owner, or walk straight into the complete unknown. Henry chose to reject the wealth and turn his back on his father's legacy. One pitch-black midnight in 1879, while everyone else was fast asleep, he packed his watch repair tools into a small sack and ran away from home without once looking back. He didn't have a single penny in his pocket, but his eyes were fixed on the smoking factories of Detroit on the horizon. When he first stepped foot in Detroit, nobody knew who he was. By day, he worked in factories for mere pennies, and by night, he ran his first engine experiments in his rented room. In fact, he was so driven that during his very first engine test, he almost blew up the entire neighborhood. So how did this penniless runaway kid win the war against the massive oil and horse lobbies? How was the Model T born, changing the face of the world forever? Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for the rest of the series and Henry Ford's Detroit adventures.